In order to indicate to the player of our Simon game what colors have been stored in our sequence string here, our sequence variable, we need to have some sort of function that reads through the sequence and makes the correct LED blink and the correct sound beep. So to do that, we're going to scroll to the bottom and start creating a new function right here. This function is going to be void show sequence. And to loop through every item in our sequence string, I'm going to create a for loop. And I'm going to go ahead and start it with a integer variable type. I'm going to call the variable x, and it's going to start out at 0. Just like arrays, strings are 0 indexed. So the first item in that string is going to have an index of 0. And I'm going to continue working through that string as long as the x is less than the sequence's length. So I'm going to say sequence.length. This function here, the dot length function, this is something that you can use on any string, and it just counts how many characters are in the string. After I put in my condition, I'm going to explain how I'm going to increment the variable, and here I'm just going to do x++, which just makes x get bigger by 1 each time we go through the loop. Then I'm going to have the start of my loop right here and the end of my loop right there. In order to look at a specific color in that string, I'm going to create a new variable here called char. It's a character variable type, and it's going to be, I'm going to call it color. And I'm going to set it equal to sequence dot char at. And so it's going to give me the character at a specific point within the sequence variable. It's going to give me the character at the x position, the index, whatever iteration of the loop we're on. So the first time we go through the loop and the value of x is 0, well, it's going to give me the item in the sequence with an index of 0, or in this case, in essence, the first item. Then, once I've isolated the color that I'm looking at, I'm going to have a test. I'm going to use an if statement to test whether or not the color that we're looking at right now is equal to, and then I'm going to have to put in single quotes R for red. The reason I'm using single quotes here instead of double quotes like up here is because when I'm talking about characters, you use single quotes, and when you're dealing with strings, you use double quotes. That's the only difference. So because we're actually looking at a specific single character, we're using single quotes here. I'm going to say if the color is equal to red, well then, I want to blink the red LED. Otherwise, else if the color is equal to G for green, well then, I want to blink the green LED. And just to give a little bit of space in between these blinks, I'm going to go ahead and put a delay right here so that I don't see them happening instantaneously one after another. I'm going to give myself a half-second delay so that it'll blink one color and then wait a half second and then blink the next color. Once I've done this, it's time to test it. Now, to test it, we're going to run into an issue because in your code, you probably have coded the blue and the yellow colors for your add to sequence. So we don't want to use this function to test our show sequence yet. what you want to do is, let's go ahead and delete this code out of the loop real quick. You want to go ahead and just put in some dummy uh, sequence right here. I'm going to put in RGG. And I'm actually going to put a space in between this variable and this function too. I should have done that a long time ago, but I went ahead and did it now. So at the very bottom of my setup, I am going to call my show sequence function. And it should show me the red LED and then the green LED twice. So let's see if it works. All right, everything is working as anticipated. Uh, at this point, what I want you to do is go ahead and make a commit to Bitbucket. Then I want you to add the code necessary to uh, display or show the blue and the yellow LEDs as well and make them beep. And then I also want you to add some B's and Y's up here. So let's say RG, I'm going to stop the simulation. RGBY, and you should see it when you test it that the red, the green, and then the blue and the yellow LEDs light up in that order. Once you're done with that, once you've tested it and made sure that it's working, go ahead and make another commit to Bitbucket. And then go ahead and delete this call to the show sequence function right here. And go ahead and make your sequence here a blank sequence again.